Hi, welcome to Project Freedom United. I'm Marty Zients. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by President and founder of Women Impacting the Nation, Sue Trombino. Welcome, Sue.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Marty. We've been going a mile a minute behind the camera. It's been awesome.
It's perfect. We want to get as much information from you today. We deal with issues that are relevant today for people in their homes to become more aware of what's going on. My first question for you would be, what are your thoughts on secularism creeping its way into the church and its impact on society?
That's an awesome question, and what's really great about this, Marty, is that that's what we do at W.I.N, is that we educate and equip women and men with knowledge of God's truth about our faith, our family, and our freedoms, and then we help support those who take a stand for the Judeo-Christian principles upon which our country was founded. So that question is really kind of up my alley. I've helped out Family Research Council and a lot of other groups with just talking to pastors and finding the pastors that are the true watchmen and the pastors that are preaching the whole counsel of God. And unfortunately, I believe that we're in this mess because of the church. The church is being dictated by the culture instead of the culture being dictated by the church.
Yep.
And so I've had the privilege of sitting with about 370 some odd pastors. And I hate to say it, but half of them shouldn't be behind that pulpit. I have a lot of friends, they'll say, oh, my pastor, he's preaching, everything from the Bible, and he's got good sermons. And I go, but is he preaching the whole counsel of God? Is he preaching the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Is he preaching about what is happening in our culture, about life, about marriage, about Israel? What are the topics that are really getting us? Why are we so far away from our biblical values? And we were founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and we have so gone off the deep end. And so, why there's so much secularism is because I think it starts with even the seminaries. All these people, these kids or whatever, they're going to seminary, and even the seminaries aren't teaching the whole counsel. It's almost like we want to be politically correct instead of biblically correct.
Big problem.
Right? That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And they don't want to offend. The pastor doesn't want to offend the congregation. And I'm just going to be my humble opinion, but I think it's pretty factual, is that they don't want to offend their congregation because they don't want people to leave. And if people leave, that means that you're not going to get money. And so we just need the pastors and encourage the pastors to preach the whole counsel of God. And I mean, I want to be biblically correct, not politically correct.
That's beautiful.
No.
So moving along, let's ask you this. Are you surprised by the rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses? Is there anything that shocks you about that, or is it pretty normal?
No, I mean, the way it all stems from the kids are being indoctrinated. They're not being educated. That's a fact. And I mean, you have to find out what is the cause of all of that. Number one, again, it's the churches. The churches, there's no fire and brimstone anymore. There's no truth. It's like, your truth is my truth. Your truth is not my truth, or your truth is, whatever. Truth doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. No, it's not. Because your truth is not my truth. The truth is the truth. So it has to stem from, if you went to church and the pastor is preaching the whole counsel of God, then you're going to know what is right and what is true and what is noble and what is good report. So then you go into education. Well, if your audience, I don't know if you've read the book, it's Rules for Radicals, and Saul Alinsky. Yeah. That everybody needs to be reading that book. You need to read your Bible, you need to read your Constitution, and then you need to know Rules for Radicals. There's 53 ways where the Saul Alinsky, Marxism, communism, socialism want to take out America. Well, they've already done 5 of them. I mean, they go into, where they go into the schools. And now they're going into, not forget kindergarten, they're doing preschool. I mean, preschool, I mean, we can go into a lot of things that they're trying to teach there, but when when you get money from the communist countries, from Russia, Iran, I mean, all China, when they're getting, you know, Saudi Arabia, the schools are getting all this money from little all the way up, little by little, it's the proverbial frog in the pot. They're planting seeds of all the negative stuff. Oh, anti-Semitism, the Jews, they're terrible. And all of a sudden, because we've gotten away from our Bible, you even have churches that are teaching replacement theology. We're like, what the heck is that? I just said that to somebody the other day. I go, what Bible are you reading? And I mean, we don't have time for all of that, but you have to understand that that's just not even biblical. But they teach that, and next thing you know, you're getting the schools, you're getting the churches, and little by little, you're teaching replacement theology, you're teaching the Jews are terrible, and then you go into the Palestinians. That's not even a country, they don't know their history about that. So, and if it's getting into the colleges, which they already have, the colleges, the kids graduate, they want to be teachers, lawyers, you know, you name the gamut, and what happens? That ideology, it perpetuates itself, sure. And it goes into here we are, and now there's anti-Semitism, and then the money from Soros. Let's be real, and this is no conspiracy theory. This is factual things, and I tell people all the time, show me where I'm wrong, and I'm fine with being wrong. I really am, because I want to be learned and teachable, and that's the problem too. We are so prideful people, and we're so about self that we don't want to be wrong. We don't want, oh no, I know that. No, you don't. Let's get educated, because we have become a nation of non-thinkers. And so so does it surprise me for anti-Semitism? No, because it's when you're putting more, green dye into the pot, it's going to be green. So the little tiny bit of blue, green meaning Palestinians, communism, and green and red. I mean, I don't know if that answers the question, but it doesn't surprise me. No, but that's where the Christian needs to, because we're going to be held accountable, Marty. God's not going to say, well, Marty, that was well thought. And Ralph, that was well said. And Sue, that was well intentioned. He's only going to say, well done. That's it.
That's it.
And so we have to understand what our truth is, where you're getting that truth from. And so when people say stuff to me, I'll go, wow, that's interesting. Where did you get that from? They can't regurgitate it, like the anti-Semitism. I had somebody say to me, well, Sue, Israel's an apartheid state. Now, I'm blonde, they don't think you're the sharpest tool in the shed. And so I just kind of I just go, apartheid what? And I make them repeat it. And they go, apartheid. I go, what the heck does that mean? And the gal was telling me, I said, oh, you mean South Africa? She looked at me, she goes, no. I said, well, let me ask you something. Now, not everybody can do this, but, I said, have you ever been to South Africa? No. I said, okay, well, I have. I said, have you ever been to Israel? No. I said, well, I have. I said, how many Jews are in Iran, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia? You just name all the Middle East. How many Jews are there in those countries where there used to be hundreds of thousands? Now there's nobody. But yet you go to Israel, the Palestinians, and that's a totally made up term, let's just be real. They're coming in and out, and the Jews let everybody come in, and they work in Israel. Yeah. So where's the apartheid? What does that mean? She didn't know what to say. I said, honey, I know that you're very, very smart. I really do. I said, but you have to be very careful of what you say, because you know not of what you speak. And I said, we need to start speaking truth in love. Now, if you don't like what I'm saying, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to capitulate because you don't agree with me, and you can't tell me where the truth is. And you're just regurgitating what you're hearing, all the talking points on TV. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is wonderful. So, okay, in the same vein with education. They're teaching diversity, equity, and inclusion in the grade schools, trying to get kids to understand that they're equal, that there's every kid gets a trophy, that sort of philosophy. They're not giving them a realistic picture of the world, and then they go out into the world, and obviously they fall on their face because they're not sure how they're supposed to act. How do you feel about the DEI being taught
Well, first of all, I always say when they say diversity, equity, and inclusion, whatever, I go, what does that actually mean? What it really means in their language is that if you're a Christian, you're Jewish, you're a patriot, you're an American, that doesn't apply to you. Because it's not diversity, equity unless it's all a ruse. They stir the pot and they just I stir the pot, but it's a ruse, because where is the diversity and equity? You can't, I'm sorry, but they're trying to, it's all Saul Alinsky, communism, Marxism, because what they do in Russia and every place else, and Venezuela, Cuba, whatever, they're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Okay, you're going to be the tennis player, you're going to do this, we're going to tell you what you're going to do. Now you're black and I'm white, and so therefore if you really think about this, it's not how God intended, but if we think about this as if you're black and I'm white and we say everybody's equal, well, how can I possibly be equal? You're black and I'm white. That's in their eyes, right? So how am I? No, they're trying to cut me down. Even the white elitists say that they have. Oh gosh, there's so much here, but even the white elitists are against the whites. What, does that make any sense?
No.
It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, wait a minute. So diversity, equality, how can I be color of your skin? It doesn't make any sense to me. Because first of all, if you're better, God's given you gifts, and not everybody. Everybody has their own gift, and you might be really good in engineering. I might be really good in tennis. Well, does that make me equal to you? No, everybody has to jump in to, I've really gone off the deep end here with this thing because I've got so much in my brain.
All right.
But no, I just think it's just stupid. I should have just said that from the beginning, instead of trying to, make sense of this. You can't make sense of this. What I just did that didn't make sense, that's exactly how I feel about diversity, equality. There is none of that.
And then they want to go into reparations and make people today who never owned slaves.
It just doesn't make any sense. We are all equal in God's eyes, but He's given us gifts to do something. Not everybody can be, a photographer and a videographer and what you do, Ralph. Not everybody can do that. I can probably learn to do that, but if that's not my bent, I'm not going to do that. Now, I would love to be a Michael Jordan. I'm not going to be a Michael Jordan. Let's get real. I'm not the height. I'm not talented like that. Even if I worked really hard, I don't think I'd ever be a Michael Jordan or an opera singer. That's not my bent. But we all want to be equal. In their eyes, something that, this is what it is. It's something that sounds good. And if it sounds good, it's a big red flag. That it's just, all it does is take away from teaching our kids to read, write, and arithmetic. That's
right.
it. And they're trying to make everything convoluted. And if it's convoluted, if it's confusion, and it is confusion, it's not of God.
Not of God.
That's it.
And then they talk about socialism, and really, they want everybody to be equal, but they want everybody equally poor. And the ruling class
it's only
has
the
all
ruling
money.
class. It's only the elitist,
right.
and that's where I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm going to say I did all that goobly gob at the beginning on purpose to show that it's stupid, diversity and all that kind of stuff. It isn't. It's just convolution, and there is no equality, because if I work hard, I'll give you a real example. My son, when he was younger, he got a job at a really nice hotel, and being a valet, so they were running and getting stuff, and he was really good. He's great with people. And there were people, and he would do extra stuff. Oh, I'll bring you ice, Mr. So-and-so, I'll do this, I'll whatever. And one guy gives him $50, right? So he's working hard. He knows he's got his little baseball slider pants on, and he's stuffing the money in his pocket. He's going, wow, this is awesome. And next thing you know, about 2 weeks later, the head person says, okay, now everybody's going to put their money in the same pot.
And share it.
And I was like, what? My son, this is how he's learning. He comes in the car, I pick him up, and he goes, Mom, they want me to share this stuff. He goes, I'm working hard. The one guy, and he goes, there was one young boy, and he goes, he's just sitting there doing nothing, and he's going to get the same amount as me, and I'm running around, going up to the 5th floor, getting ice, doing this, and doing a service, and I'm going to have to share? I go, Really? I said, well, welcome to the world that you want to have that, or do you want to have free enterprise? Do you want to have a capitalism and work hard, and then you should get that. Why should I work hard and make let's say $100,000 a year, and then you're the new guy, and you come in and say, well, you know what, Sue, we're gonna cut your pay down to 80, and we're gonna give him 60. But I'm like, wait a minute, I've been here for 12 years. That guy just came in here. He's gonna make the same amount. No, or it's like Jordan. It's like everybody, he's getting paid this kind of money, and then you get a newbie guy in here, and he's good, but he's not a Jordan, and they're going to give him the same amount of pay.
Makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
No.
I mean, we've lost our common sense. So
I agree.
so I think it's stupid. I'm sorry.
So there seems to be in our country now a sense of hopelessness, where people don't know what to do. They're so frazzled by what they see on the news and a Congress that doesn't work properly because they don't have biblical values, and that's not how the country was started. It was founded on biblical principles. But they're not, it's all me, what can I get? And so there's this hopelessness. What can men and women do to take that first step to get involved, to even with an organization like yours, W.I.N, or any other organization you would recommend, to just jump in and participate?
Well, first of all, I would highly, highly recommend for all of your audience to stop watching the boob tube. Period, end of story. Because it's all propaganda. And I'm only speaking of my experience and what I do. Okay, I can't tell you what to do if I don't do it. And first of all, every station out there, it's not what they're saying, Marty, it's what they're not saying. That's it. It's all propaganda. And it sounds good, and if it sounds good, we're sitting there going, I agree with that. Oh, yeah. And they're giving you half-truths and parts. Next thing you know, you're going right off a cliff because you're listening, even Fox News, and I'm sorry, but I haven't watched Fox News in 9.5 years because I saw it. I've lived the Banana Republic my whole life. I'm from Venezuela. I've lived in San Salvador, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, West Africa, Europe, Madagascar, South Africa, you name it. I've lived it, and I can tell you, I can pick out propaganda in a nanosecond. And I just started going, what the heck? Why? And then you watch, you will know them by their fruit. Now, I do everything, everybody has a worldview. It's either biblical or pagan. There is no in between. Now, people can disagree with me, that's fine. We can agree to disagree, but that's where I come from. I come from a biblical worldview. What does God say? And so I look at things from that lens. What lens do you look at the world through? And the problem is we have, again, we're the proverbial frogs in the pot, and we just keep capitulating and going, well, that's okay. Yeah, it's no big deal. And then we go backwards. Next thing you know, here's the line, and we're so far back over here. It's like this. If your audience is, here's my hand, okay? I've got the Bible and the Constitution. Now, the Republicans are always to the right, and the Democrats are to the left. And what has happened right now? In the middle, what I just showed you is the Bible and the Constitution. And most people haven't read the Bible, and most people haven't read our Constitution, so you're just going to what sounds good and how you were brought up and everything else. What happens here? The Republicans are usually to the right of the Democrats. But look at what's happening here. Look at where the Bible, the Bible and the Constitution's here. Look how far we've strayed from all of that. And I think it's because we in America are in a bubble. And we think, that's not going to happen here. This is America. And we say, as long as you don't bug me, do whatever you want to do. I don't want to be in your business. Don't be in my business. What you do in the LGBTQ, do your thing. I don't care. But just don't bother me. Well, next thing you know, you got your Saul Alinsky, Marxism, communism that want to take over because they don't want truth. They want, like you said earlier, they want the elitists to make you poor. Right. Put you all on one thing. We're going to share the cow, even though I raised the cow, I bought the cow, I did everything. And so this all is really together. You can't compartmentalize all this because it all comes down to one, right? So if you've got all these people that you said came out of college that were indoctrinated. Now they're media people, and they're telling you you're going to ask these questions, but it sounds good. Next, we are sitting there going, ooh, yeah. Well, we've gone off to the left because now we've been indoctrinated too, and so therefore, what's happened? I mean, what has really happened with the propaganda and we've just so gone off the deep end, and because of social media. Now, tell me the question one more time. I think
It seems to be a sense of hopelessness.
Oh, the
pervading our
hopelessness. Okay,
society.
that's where I was going. So when you're watching, because you asked me what can you do, and it's important what I just said because I want people to understand garbage in, garbage out. Who are you listening to? It's the old adage. I mean, you are who you hang out with. I mean, that's not hyperbole. That's factual, right? So what are you watching? If you're watching nonsense, you're going to get nonsense, and you think because it sounds good. But so stop watching the boob tube. That's the first thing. That's me. Find people and groups. There are a lot of groups that are preaching, and not just preaching, but there's churches that are preaching the whole counsel of God. There are groups that are really on the front lines of the battlefield, that are really trying to get you the truth stuff, whether it's from Israel or the border or whatever is going on in our country, our Constitution. You mentioned, the Congress. We have Congress people that have so capitulated. I call them all the time. So, gosh, we can go into a whole thing with that. But to answer your question, stop watching the boob tube. Read your Constitution so that and it's a tiny book, so that you know what your rights are. And as soon as you know what your rights are, you're going to go, wait a minute, you are not doing our rights. I mean, we're $33 trillion in debt. Why? Is because we have congressmen and senators they've been bought and sold, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, because little by little, when you cross the Potomac, truth becomes subjective, and they get up into the swamp there, and people, there's a plethora of things that they do. And next thing you know, the person that went up there to do the right thing has gotten caught up in all that, and they haven't had they don't either have people around them that hold them accountable, and so they capitulate and they get caught in a compromising position. Next thing you know, they're being, they said, hey, we've got something on you, so you better vote for this thing. And so what do we do as Americans? Number one, get involved. Stop watching the TV. Get involved. I mean, we have at womenimpactingthenation.org, we literally spoon feed you. We will find out what floats your boat, and we will get you involved in what's important to you.
That's
Not
good.
what's important to me, but what's important to you. If you say to me, Sue, if I say, Marty, what's important to you? And you say, Israel's important to me. I'm going to go, oh my gosh, do you know CUFI? Do you know ICEJ? Have you listened to even Caroline Glick? I'll give you people that I listen to, or that we give you suggestions. I don't tell you what to do, because I want you to think. We become a nation of non-thinkers. So I'm going to give you a plethora of things. You go, and go check it out, and then you see, wow, I really like this. Is awesome. What did I just do? I didn't tell you, hey, you need to go get involved in this pro-life thing, Marty. And you're going, well, I am pro-life, but that doesn't float my boat. Whereas if I ask the question, what's important to you, and you tell me, well, the border's important to me, or whatever. I mean, Congress, I want to know what's going on, and what's going on with Congress and everything. I go, well, first of all, read your Constitution. Go to Liberty Council, lc.org. Go to Family Research Council. Go to Watchmen, Wall Builders. Go, and I'll point you in the direction of really a lot of groups that you now can make your own, educated decision, instead of me trying to push a wet noodle or try to pour into you, which is going to, it's going to be hard for me to try to keep getting you educated.
Yeah, and if I'm interested in it to begin with, my involvement will be automatic.
You're going to do your thing, and then when everybody's involved in their own thing, guess what? They all tie in together.
Yep.
Every one of them, from life to marriage to Israel to the borders, everything affects all of us. So if everybody's doing what God's called them to do, then wow, now I'm going to, and every time I see you, you see me coming, you're going to go, Sue, oh my gosh, you know what I learned from ICEJ? Oh, that's awesome. Whereas if I, push you into doing something for life, you're going to go, oh my gosh, here she comes. All she does is talk about life. No, I'm going to talk about what's important to you.
And there's so much out there that.
And there's so much
something
out
for
there, so why,
everybody.
I can't tell you what, no. So I ask. We at W.I.N, we ask questions. And that's what I ask, to your audience, what do I do? Where's the hope? Number one, I get my hope through Christ. I mean, he says, consider it all joy. Now, sometimes you're sitting there all going, listening to what's going on, and you're like, what the heck? How do I consider that joy? How do I consider what just happened in Israel joy? But God's got a better plan. I don't know about it. All I know is that I have to do what God's called me to do. And if I watch that boob tube, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get depressed. I'm going to, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. But the Lord says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Doesn't mean I have to do everything, but I can do all things in what God's called me to do.
Yep.
I can't expect you to do what I do, and I can't do what you do, or what Ralph does. I can't do that. But when I find what floats your boat, wow, now all of a sudden you get a little bit of hope. And so I ask, what's important to you? Why do you believe the way you believe? You're going to bounce, you're going to be like the hokey pokey. You're in today, you're out tomorrow because of feelings, right? We talk about truth and facts, not emotion, not conjecture, but what really is important. Not even our opinion, really, because we're all entitled to our opinion, we're just not entitled to our own facts, right?
That's right.
So I just go, okay, so if I ask you what's important to you, then so I find out what's important to you, but then I say, why do you believe that? Now, if I can get you to articulate why you believe that, now you're going, oh my gosh, you're going to have more chutzpah, you're going to have more, courage to stand. I mean, Ephesians 6:13 says, and having done all, you stand. But you have to know what you're standing for, and most people don't know what they're standing for. So you're going to be in today, out tomorrow, you're in with a group over here that don't like one candidate, and they're going, and you be quiet, because you're like, oh, I don't want to offend them. Then the next day you're over here, and you're talking, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm right in with you. And then somebody from over here is in that group, and they're going, wait a minute, I thought they were for this person, now they're for this one. Now all of a sudden you just lost your credibility because nobody knows what you believe or why you believe it.
That's right.
I used to tell my son, honey, when everybody's coming at you, you're going the right way. The path is narrow. And God is not a God of numbers. Gideon wanted 33,000. He got a whopping 300. Can you imagine? Well, all these millions of people coming at me, Lord. What am I going to do? I need 33,000. No, you're going to get 300. Okay, what am I going to do? Can you imagine? One woman, I've said this for 18 years, one woman took out prayer and Bible out of the school.
Madeline Murray O'Hara.
Okay, it was the pastors. I'm talking to you pastors. It was the pastors that were telling their congregation not to get involved in politics. Well, who did Jesus speak to? Didn't he speak to the Pharisees and the Sadducees? I mean, I'm just a mom. What do I know? But didn't he speak to the Pharisees and the Sadducees? Well, who were they?
Yeah, they were the religious leaders.
Weren't they the government of the day?
Yep.
So somebody's worldview is going to win out. What is it? It's either biblical or pagan, evil or good, right, wrong. You're either going to, steal or you're not going to steal. You want to go through the 10 Commandments? And that's the problem, is that we've so go like, well, I don't want to offend, until it becomes personal.
Yep. Then things change.
Then all of a sudden, so that's why we ask the second question, what's important to you? Now all of a sudden, if I know what's important to me, and am I going to die on that hill? You betcha I am, because I know what I believe and why I believe it. But you can't keep going and standing and, if you don't know what you believe, because then you will play the hokey pokey. You're in today, you're out tomorrow, and there goes your emotions, up and down. Next thing you know, you're sick. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital, and you don't want to go to the hospital today, with everything that's going on. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It makes a lot of sense.
So I'm just very common sense, giving people hope, meaning know your Bible, know what your rights are with your Constitution. If you're a Christian, your hope is in Christ. I have people say, Sue, how can you do what you do? I mean, in the last, we've had our bus. I mean, you've seen our bus. I think, Ralph, we have this bus that we're trying to get a new one, but we've been doing a tour called Saving Our Republic, Ensuring Liberty. And we did 9 meetings in 3 days in Georgia, just to give you an idea. I'm not fooling around. I want to save this republic. And if anything, God's in control, but I don't want him to go, okay, so you did this one day and you did this. And no, I gave you a gift and you followed it. Well done. Or, what are you doing? Are you hiding behind in the vat? Joshua, Gideon, not Joshua. Gideon, I was just listening to Joshua on the way up. Be strong and courageous. But Gideon, he was hiding in a vat, scared to death. He wasn't courageous. He was a coward until God said, you man of valor. He spoke it into him. And that's the thing, is we need to start speaking truth. All we're doing is speaking, oh my gosh, I'm afraid. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So no wonder you don't have hope, because you're speaking everything that you're watching and regurgitating on TV.
Right.
So how do we, people feel hopeless? Yeah, they do. It's because they're watching that. It's the people they hang out with. They don't really have the foundation of what our Constitution is, what are we fighting for. You have to know what you believe so that you know what to fight for. Is your family important? Is your grandchildren important? Because we in America are living the dream. I don't care what economic level you're at. You could be homeless for whatever. You're still living the dream. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we live in the greatest country on the face of the planet. The poorest of the poor here is wealthier than the people that live overseas. Go to Venezuela. Go, I'll take you to any country. You'll come back here and kiss the ground you walk on. But we are living the dream. But if we choose not to do anything, not to speak up, not to speak is to speak. Right. Silence is not an option. If you're silent,
you're agreeing.
You're agreeing. My son used to come home and say, Mommy, I didn't tease, everybody was teasing Marty today. Well, I didn't tease him. Or Sally, whatever. I go, but I didn't tease him. I go, that's awesome, son, but did you stand up for him? Did you stand up for her? If you didn't stand for something, then you're going to fall for anything. Those are really powerful things.
Yeah.
So those kind of things is that, Gideon, one of our taglines is 1256-1. There was only 12 disciples. There was only 56 signers of the Declaration. And there was only one Savior, one Messiah. What can you do? What can you do? I don't know.
Do something.
Do something. If you choose not to do anything, make a phone call, write a letter. I don't know. Call us. Well, you can call me. I promise you we'll call. Go to womenimpactingthenation.org, 844-946-8255, or email, click on. I promise you I'll call you back. I will get you involved. I'll get you engaged in what is important to you. Because if we don't, we're going to leave a nightmare to our children and our grandchildren. That's a fact. And we're all going to go, just like 1962 and 63 when they took out prayer and Bible out of the school. People were going, how the heck did that happen? Because you put your head in the sand.
That's right.
Just like the Jewish people. How do you kill 6 million Jews?
How does the
Sing
world
a little
allow it?
louder. Yeah. If you ever watched the movie Sing a Little Louder, watch it. It's about 40 minutes. You can get it on YouTube, I think, now. Sing a little louder. Everybody, they went by a church, and the pastor didn't know what to do, and he told the trains were going by, and they stop, and they hear the people yelling, little girls screaming, help us, help us. What did the pastor do? He told his choir, sing louder.
Drown it out.
Drown it out, put your head in the sand, no, I don't want to hear it, la, la, la. Well, I'm sorry, shame on you if you do that. If you choose, it's a choice. Well, I can't. No, you can. You can do something. I don't care what it is, but if everybody did something, but we're waiting for somebody to do something. We're waiting, the church is waiting for Jesus to come. When's the rapture? And then they fight against each other going, oh, no, he's coming in the fall. He's coming November 29th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
No man knows the day or the hour.
Okay, then the other pastor's going, oh, no, he's not. He's coming in the spring when there's a blue moon, red moon, pink moon. I don't know. I'm being funny, but no, even I can figure that out. He says only the Father knows.
That's right.
So why are we fighting? It's all man stuff. And yet, meanwhile, our country's going down the toilet, and if we go down, so does the rest of the world. But as far as hope, Marty, There's so much hope. It's incredible. If you choose to not watch that, you see the things. I could point you into, when you're on the front lines of the battlefield, that's when you're going to see the miracle of God. If you're hiding in the corner or when you're afraid, what are you afraid of? God says, do not be afraid 365 times. I don't know. And I know it's not, it's real. It can be real. I'm not trying to dismiss it. But little by little, take one step and go, okay, I can do that. I can make a phone call. And one more step. And if we all started making phone calls, we have an incredible thing called Call One Day. And you can call me and I'll tell you all about it. But calling our congressman. Get on your knees, repent, pray, do the right thing in life, not the easy, politically expedient thing. Call every one of your congressmen and senators. That's easy. If everybody did that, they'd flip out. And they did. And look what just happened. What had just happened with Mike Johnson was a miracle of God.
I believe it.
It was totally a miracle. It's just, but it's because the millions of people called. They were hearing them. They were telling people, stop calling. They were so upset that we were calling. So
and if
when
Matt Gaetz hadn't stood up and said enough, it never would have ended up there.
Yeah, you can point the finger and bat all these people. It's like whether you're I was going to say your congregation, but whether your viewers or not, it depends on who you like in as far as a presidential candidate on our side is really kind of irrelevant. It's whoever you vote for them. But this is it's amazing to me. They take one candidate, and we'll call it, let's just be true here. They'll take Trump and they just annihilate him. And I had one gal, why is it? I want people to think, why? Why are they trying to do that? And nobody can really tell you, oh, he's bad man, he's orange man, he's this man, he's that man. I had a friend of mine, and I'm not saying I'm for it yet, I'm just saying a story. So, because at W.I.N, we don't tell people how to vote or who to vote for. I just try to get you to think, to look at the big picture, not just being an R, because right now I'm almost embarrassed to be an R Republican, almost. Anyway, with some of the people that are there. But I was talking to a girlfriend, and she goes, I can't stand Trump's tweets. And she's a Christian. And I said, that's interesting. I don't just go, why? I just go, that's interesting. I go, Lily, you're a history buff, aren't you? And because I always know about people. I try to really, find out about people. And I said, you're a history buff, aren't you? And she goes, yeah, I am. And I said, what did you think of Churchill and Patton? She goes, oh my gosh, they were phenomenal. I go, really? So you like them, but you don't like Trump because of the tweets? Okay. I said, do you realize that Churchill and Patton were foul-mouthed, womanizing, cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking kind of guys? But they saved the Western world. Do I care about a tweet? Not really.
No.
You will know them by their fruit. Nobody's perfect, and until Jesus Christ himself is on that ballot, there's not going to be a perfect candidate.
That's right.
So for the Christians, the 25 million Christians that chose not to vote last time, shame on you. For the 25 million Christians that are not registered, shame on you. Because God's going to hold us accountable.
Yes,
we're not going to be held we're not going to be, not held accountable. We're going to be held accountable. And I'm just saying that just to get people engaged, because if only a quarter of the Christians, and I'm just talking to the Christians right now, if only a quarter, Marty, that's a slice of pie, would vote their biblical values, life, marriage, and Israel, we would win in a landslide every time.
Yep.
And they couldn't cheat enough. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I think I'm well out of questions. Are there any final thoughts you want to tell our viewers? Anything that's...
I just appreciate you even, wanting to have me here. I really am. I'm humbled at what God's called us to do at W.I.N. And I just really want to encourage your viewers. We have, well, I don't know when this is going to air or whatever, but we have till October of 2024 to save this republic. But God, we are in a mess. Yes, we're in a mess. We can't dish all the bad stuff that's happening. But God is giving us another chance to wake up, to do what he's called us to do. Do not get involved in politics. What about your civic duty?
Yeah.
Right? It's your civic duty. What are you called to do? And somebody's worldview is going to win out. And if you choose not to get involved, then you're part of the problem.
That's right.
And when you point the finger at somebody, you got 3 pointing back at yourself. So stop pointing the finger, get yourself right, take care of Jerusalem before you go out to Judea and Samaria. Get yourself right. Know what you believe, why you believe it, and be able to articulate why you believe the way you believe so that you can stand. Because you can't stand unless you know what you're standing for. And that's very biblical. And so I just really encourage you, your audience to get involved. I mean, we're sitting here, with the veterans and everything. I mean, from, the museum, the honoring, and from my dad was a 1st Marine Division Guadalcanal. So I told you earlier, I bleed Semper Fi, but they fought and died for the privilege of us living in this country. And I think Americans sometimes take it for granted. And shame on us if we take that for granted, because to whom much is given, much is required.
That's right.
And we in America, if you were blessed to be born in America, you hit the jackpot, you hit the lotto. Now for some of us that, my parents came here, my dad was from Spain, and I became an American citizen. I even actually chose, I could have dual citizenship, and I've actually chosen not to. I'm not dual citizenship, I'm an American. And not by birth, but, chosen because of my parents. But we cannot take America for granted, because everybody in the world is praying on their knees that America doesn't go down. And and if we continue to become apathetic, disengaged, or disinterested, and we lose America, that's not hyperbole. That's factual. If we lose America, where do we go from there?
There's
from
nowhere
here?
else. There's nowhere else to go.
Where do we go? Everybody in the world wants to come here.
Right.
Where do we go? So, just in our tagline is, when we show up, we win. No pun intended. We win. We're just not showing up. Little by little, it's becoming personal, so people are going, oh, yeah. But get engaged. Do not forget to be registered to vote, and then go vote for the right person. It really isn't there's no more Democrat-Republican Party anymore. There really isn't. It's either Marxism, socialism, or communism. And for you Democrats out there, the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of JFK. It's socialism, Marxism, communism. That's a fact. And then we have, because of our platform, we have America, patriotism. It's the America. It's for America or against America.
Right.
And that's the way you have to look at it. It's not going to be perfect, but you can't vote for the Marxist socialists anymore, or you're not going to be able to roll a snowball up a hill, And what about your grandchildren? What's your legacy going to be? And that's what I'll leave you with. What is your legacy going to be? But I just pray that your audience to stand up for the men and women that have died for us and they're still serving, to protect the greatest country on the face of the planet. Not perfect, but exceptional.
Well, my mind is blown. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to you today, Sue. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure our viewers will get a lot out of it, and I hope and pray that they'll take your challenge to heart to get involved.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. I so appreciate you and Ralph, and
Very welcome.
And we're the remnant. We gotta,
That's right, we gotta do it.
And so, but thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for another show, Project Freedom United. There's more coming, folks. Thank you.